through the zombie outbreak in Train to Busan, the deadly virus in the flu, and the apocalyptic eruption in Asheville. Korean disaster films have established a distinctive place in global cinema. They impress audience not only with their striking visual spectacle, but also with their reflections on human nature. We are used to following male heroes, watching their growth, their sacrifices, and their journeys towards redemption. But once we shift our attention away from these central figures and look instead at the mothers, daughters, and wives in these stories, a clear narrative pattern begins to appear. What roles do these women actually play? Are they independent individuals with their own agency, or have they been shaped into functional symbols molded by invisible expectations? This video examines how female characters in Korean disaster films are constantly constructed as emotional anchors, ultimately serving narrative that place male actions and male redemptions at the center. To deconstruct this phenomenon, one must adopt the core theoretical lens of agency, the capacity of autonomous decision-making and narrative progression that defines a character's agency. By framing female characters as emotional maintenance, we systematically restrict or deprive them of agency, anchoring them in position predetermined by traditional gender ideology. This process is most vividly illustrated in films like Train to Busan and The Flu. In the death train journey of Train to Busan, female characters become emotional symbols under the camera's gaze. Zuko's daughter Susan's primary role isn't survival itself, but rather serves as a catalyst for her father's moral awakening. Her innocence and kindness constantly challenge her father's worldliness and selfishness, driving him from an egoist to a collaborator and a sacrificial figure. Throughout most escape scenarios, she remains a passive object, being carried and hidden. Similarly, the pregnant Sungin embody immaterial instinct, her existence forming an emotional bond between her husband Sangwon and the male pregnancy team. Although she ultimately demonstrates trained driving skills, her narrative function emphasizes her role as the protect center. Her survival represents the ultimate outcome of male heroism rather than her own survival efforts. Their survivals give meaning to the male sacrifices, thereby solidifying their narrative status as emotional maintainers. The film The Flu takes this narrative pattern to an extreme. When Dr. Kim Mi-hin first appears, she represents the rational authority of medical professional and stands for public responsibility. Once her daughter Min-ru shows signs of infection, her professional identity collapses almost instantly, and all her decisions narrow down to one instinct, the need to protect her child. She shifts from a capable decision-maker with genuine agency into an emotional dreaming mother, becoming the emotional force that pushes firefighter Kang Jin-hoo to risk his life during the rescue. Min-ru, in turn, becomes an even more intensified emotional symbol. Her innocence turns her into an accidental antibody vessel, and her individuality disappears as she is reduced to a medical solution that must be delivered. The famous scene where she opens her arms to shield her mother from the soldiers' gunfire acts as the ultimate emotional trigger from ethical conflict rather than a strategic autonomous action. In this narrative, the value of female characters is placed entirely in their ability to generate emotional tension and to provide justification for male characters' actions.
However, the gender narrative in South Korea disaster films is not static. Films like The Tower and Exist demonstrate notable innovations in this genre, though these breakthroughs still carry inherent limitations. In The Tower, the operational manager Song Yoon-hee begins the story with calm professionalism, showcasing her command and action capability during the disaster early stages, challenging the stereotype of women being passive victims. Exist features Jung Young-ju, whose breakthrough is even more striking, with her sharp mind exceptional spatial planning and particle skills. She maintains an equal partnership with the male lead, Lee Yong-nan, making the joint decisions and taking coordinated actions throughout the film. However, these advanced attempts ultimately fail to completely break through the conventions of traditional narrative. Song Yong-hee's professional identity was swiftly replaced by her role as a caregiver. When the daughter of the male character she was caring for got trapped, her heroic actions in the fire were ultimately reduced to fulfilling maternal duties, confining her personal value within the confines of family. Similarly, despite her outstanding abilities, Jung Yoo-ju was ultimately trapped on the top floor. Her role shifted from an equal co-decider to a narrative target. She was reduced to an emotional catalyst for the male character to overcome. Her rescue marked the successful completion of the male hero's journey. These two films empower their female characters, yet, in the most crucial narrative, drive, and structure, and unconsciously reverted to the traditional framework that anchors women's value to emotional maintenance and family roles. Examine the evaluation from trend to bosom and to exist. We discern a narrative trace shifting from obvious gendering and to attempted breakthroughs with persistent limitations. Early works systematically portray women as emotional anchors, moral symbols, and protected objects. Their actions and reputation served as the driving force for male characters. On the surface, recent films ground female characters' great professional competence and autonomy. This demonstrates progress in gender representation. Beneath the surface, however, their narrative structures and functional allocations show clear vacillation and compromise. Even after asserting their agency, female characters ultimately yield to traditional gender narratives centered on male growth and heroism. This gendered portrait stems from the Korea's unique historical context. The myth of masculinity, born from the colonial trauma and reinforced by the Confucian patriarchy, shapes the national narratives, while male protection defines the collective identity. Disaster films replicate this logic. They systematically sideline women's trauma, reducing them to emotional anchors and protected objects to reinforce the male-centric heroism. This represents not just narrative habit, but a cultural unconscious that must be confronted for genuine change.